Preparations continue for the late Queen Elizabeth's funeral. President Joe Biden prepares to name a new Russian ambassador, and the U.S. may be in for another gas price hike. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Cameron Joyner.
And I'm Parker Abels. We begin tonight with breaking news. A major traffic jam back up on I-35 just north of Norman, as you can see in this video from our partners at News 9. More police and Oklahoma Highway Patrol say traffic is backed up near South 27th Street due to a single car wreck. It couldn't have come at a worse time as we approach rush hour traffic. Officers say they have one lane moving and hope to clear the area quickly.
King Charles and company are preparing for Queen Elizabeth's funeral. CNN's Isabel Rosales has more.
Against the backdrop of Big Ben tolling and the minute guns firing, the royal family walked behind the Queen's coffin over to Westminster Hall, effectively handing the Queen over to the public. The Queen now rests in the same spot her mother and father both lay in state before her. Draped in a wreath of flowers, Queen Elizabeth II's coffin made its final journey to Westminster Hall Wednesday, where the late Queen will lie in state until her funeral on Monday. The funeral procession led by King Charles III and surrounded by military personnel. Behind the king, his siblings, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and the king's two sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. A somber moment for this family and the entire United Kingdom. Crowds stretched for miles around London, some people sleeping on the streets overnight, just to ensure they could say a final farewell to a queen who served her people for more than 70 years.
It's the one thing I really want to do, to come and pay my last respects.
Among those paying their respects, dozens of world leaders.
This has obviously been a shock to everybody. This is, going to be a memory that will stand with them and with us watching it forever. 70 years of service is exceptional to any person's life.
A moment of grief for the UK, rippling across the globe.
A sense of gratitude for the contribution that she had made in providing all that steadiness and sense of stillness in the middle of a very troubled and speedy world.
And London's mayor says hundreds of thousands of people are expected to come to the capital city. The live tracker for the UK government tracking that queue is showing that it's running roughly 2.5 miles right now. That's the length of the line to get into Westminster Hall. It's taking people about 6 hours to get inside. In London, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
The Queen's formal funeral is set to take place on Monday.
Some big news about OU football now, with the team's long-awaited move to the SEC means some schedule changes. The Sooners were scheduled to play out-of-conference games with Georgia at home in 2023 and away game against Tennessee in 2024, but with those teams being SEC teams, OU will not be able to complete home-and-home with them before joining the conference or whenever they join. The replacement game will be in 2023 at home against SMU.
You have 1 month left if you want to register to vote for the November election here in Oklahoma. Already, the percentage of women registered to vote is on the rise. Bella Roddy was out at OU and she asked some students if they plan to vote and why.
Would you guys mind answering a few questions really fast?
Are you registered to vote in any state?
Yes.
I want to vote and I want to register. It's just at the moment I'm not registered yet.
Well, I just turned 18, so my parents are both like, you need to go register to vote.
When I turned 18, it was the thing that I was most excited about.
Once you're 18, I feel like it's a big thing. Obviously you can't drink or something, but you can vote.
I've just learned that having a voice and actually using your right to vote is really important.
Because it's important.
Why do you think it's important?
Because I feel like it's just something you have to do to be a member of a community.
Because there are certain laws that directly have to do with women or affect women, and so the only way to actually, take a stand and fight for what you want is to vote.
They need to have their opinions heard too, because I feel like it's over-trumped sometimes.
We've been through a couple years where it's been just so male-dominated.
The recent abortion laws that have been passed, I think it's been a wake-up call for a lot of women, especially in our generation.
Just education for sure, like especially like at OU, like people are like having those conversations that are important. You know?
Women now are just deciding that it's time to make a change and fight for our rights.
They deserve that, so I see nothing wrong with it, and I'm happy for it. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you so much. That's all I need.
Here are the important deadlines that you need to know. You must register to vote by October 14th, either in person or by mail, which means your mailed-in registration has to be postmarked on that day. If you want an absentee ballot, you must request that by October 24th. Election day is Tuesday, November 8th.
An alarming trend in the United States as death by drug overdose is on the rise. Zoe Watson has that and the rest of today's headlines from around the world in the News Center.
Drug overdose deaths in the U.S. still sit at near record levels. According to provisional data by the CDC, more than 109,000 people died of drug overdose in the 12-month period ending in March 2022. The newest figure is at a 44% jump from 2 years earlier when there were about 76,000 deaths reported in a 12-month period ending in March 2020. Deaths involving synthetic opioids increased by a whopping 80% over the past 2 years. President Joe Biden plans to nominate a new ambassador to Russia soon. According to 3 sources, the next nominee for Russian ambassador is Lynn Tracy. Tracy has been serving as an ambassador to Armenia since 2019. Russia still has to agree to accept her as her candidate. Typically, the host country will approve the ambassador before they are officially nominated. The first national railroad strike in 30 years could take place later this week. Around 60,000 union railroad workers are set to go on strike. The strike stems from scheduling rules that require engineers and conductors to be on call 7 days a week. The President Biden has called both the unions and the rail companies in an attempt to avert a strike. And lastly, Chipotle has caught on to the viral hack that allows customers to get a $3 burrito. It was a loophole in the app, and the company has now addressed it. Cameron and Parker, back to you.
Thanks, Zoe. We all use electronics, but many don't know what to do when they are outdated or irreparable. To encourage proper electronics recycling, the City of Norman is hosting an e-waste recycling event September 17th at Reeves Park. To limit the hassle, city employees will collect devices from your vehicle and properly dispose of them. Event organizer Michelle Loudenbach stresses the importance of proper electronic recycling and says bring anything with a cord. To participate in the event, you must have proof of residency. Well, Cameron, it seemed a little warmer out there today, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, and it seems like that's the case across the state. Our meteorologist, Catherine Liberta, has more on that. Catherine?
That's right, Cameron and Parker. It is very warm across the state. We can see that we are seeing temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s. Look at Guyman out there sitting in the 70s. That's because they're experiencing a bit of rain right now. But looking at the rest of our month, we have had some very high temperatures across the state for most of this month, only a couple days below average. Now, looking at our rest of the week, we are going to see these temperatures skyrocket into the upper 70s. So coming up, we'll talk more about those higher temperatures, and we'll have a first look at your game day forecast. Back to you.
Now, weather-related power outages are not on the downtrend, and more on the demand for electricity and the effect it has on our country's infrastructure when we come back.
And the U.S. may be heading towards a price increase at the pump. Hear from Chevron CEO when we return.
Okay, yeah, I was reading the thing about the power outages was right after first weather, so I don't think I was ahead. Was I? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
sitting in the dark?
No, it'll be okay.
Thanks, Cameron.
Power outages are increasing. California faces mudslides and wildfires, and there may be another price increase at the pump. Bailey Coyle has these stories and more in Earth Report.
Thanks, Cameron. Sitting in the dark during extreme weather is becoming more common as the demand for electricity climbs and the country's energy infrastructure gets older. An analysis from Climate Central showed that from 2000 to 2021, up 83% of all reported power outages were caused by weather-related events. And this number is only increasing as climate change is intensifying extreme weather. Climate Central found that Texas reported the largest number of outages, followed by Michigan, California, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. And continuing with extreme weather, California is cleaning up after recent mudslides as wildfires blaze through the state. In part of San Bernardino Mountains, crews are searching the streets for people who might be trapped by the mudflows. Evacuation orders remain in place as fires throughout the state continue to burn. One of the largest is 500 miles away from the mudslides and is only 20% contained. Prices at the pump have been falling, but they may increase again as the U.S. Energy Secretary wants to ban exports of American oil to nations that may need more crude oil. Chevron CEO says he's not a fan.
Export ban runs the risk of taking supplies that are needed in other parts of the world and reducing those, which can drive world prices up, which then can affect the price of imports.
Cameron and Parker, Chevron says they are also worried about how politicized oil prices have become. Back to you at the desk.
Coming up on OU Nightly, many women embrace a stereotype in their profession. We'll have more on that when we come back.
And like we said earlier, things are heating up here in Oklahoma. Catherine, what do you have for us?
That's right, Parker. Temperatures are in the 90s for the rest of the week. I'll have more on that coming up.
I'm Sarah Sullivan at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Previous Massachusetts town official Suzanne Ianni pleaded guilty.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. We are taking a live look right now at our OU campus cam. We have some beautiful conditions across campus. We can see it's sunny outside, very few clouds, and we have a nice cool breeze for you. But looking at our temperatures across the entire metro, we are seeing those low 90s and upper 80s, and that's the case for most of the state. Out in the Panhandle, they are sitting in the 70s because of a bit of rain. But looking at our evening forecast, we can see that it is going to be a gorgeous evening throughout the rest of the night. We are seeing temperatures in the upper 80s, and looking at our night tonight, we're going to drop down to the lower 60s. It's going to be a pretty calm night for you. Not a lot of clouds, so it's a great night to get outside, and that's going to be the case for most of the state. The western part of the state, Woodward and Elk City, are going to be sitting a little higher than the rest of the state, but our highs tomorrow, again, a very beautiful day with temperatures in the 90s. Like I said earlier, we're sticking above average, and that's the case for the entire country. We are above average with our temperatures across the country, except for parts of Wisconsin and Michigan. Now, along with that, we are also seeing below average rain, and this is going to cause lots of areas to have drought, and we are also at the risk for some fire weather across a lot of the U.S. But looking at our 7-day forecast, like I said, temperatures are going to skyrocket into the 90s and upper 90s later this week. And then looking into next week, we are going to see some very hot temperatures, especially on Monday and Tuesday. But if you're heading to Nebraska on Saturday, we'll have that game day forecast later in the newscast. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. OU Price College of Business is now offering a free tutoring service for its students. NAC is an online tutoring platform allowing students the tutoring they need anywhere at any time. Students can receive help from their peers who already have 5 approved tutors and 217 registered students for the service. The faculty is excited to see how the service is going to grow and expects a rise in enrollment around midterms.
So this really helps with student retention. It helps with students just doing better in the courses and understanding the concepts, which just helps them as they go through all the rest of the courses that they have to take in a progression.
If you're interested in using NAC, visit the Price College of Business website for more information.
Now at the Sam Noble Museum on campus, the Bearded Lady Project exhibit is available for viewing. The project aims to celebrate the inspirational women in paleontology throughout history and into the present day. The exhibit also hopes to educate the public on the inequities facing women in geoscience.
Beards really serve to comment on the stereotype that paleontology historically has been a male-dominated field, and when most people think of a paleontologist, they think of a very rugged white man out in the field, not a woman.
The project consists of a feature film and photography exhibit and is open from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. until September 25th at the Sam Noble Museum.
Well, the Sooners have their first away game of the season this weekend in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Sydney Bush has that and more in sports. Sydney.
A familiar face awaits the Sooners on Saturday in Nebraska. And which pro athlete is soon to be a billionaire? I'll tell you all this and more coming up in sports. Hi, I'm Sydney Bush, and it's time for sports. This weekend, OU heads to Nebraska. Here's Reggie Grimes' insight on facing a familiar face and Nebraska quarterback Casey Thompson.
He's a great player. He was at Texas last year. You know, he's a really solid ball player. Credit where credit is due. He's athletic. He can throw the ball. He can also run too. So it's really just one of those things that understanding the kind of guy we're about to go up against and respecting that, but trying to contain that.
OU soccer is kicking it in gear with a 4-match unbeaten streak. Coming off hot after fighting a win against ORU 5-2, the Sooners will continue their road swing this week with matches at East Tennessee State University. It's cleanup time for OU volleyball, whose 3-0 sweep against Abilene Christian earned them their best start since 2016. Undefeated with a 5-win streak, the Sooners lead the conference in assists and total digs. And dig this, their next serve will be hosting Texas Southern and Nevada on Friday. Just one game away from winning it all, the Las Vegas Aces are facing the Connecticut Sun for the WNBA championship. On Tuesday, Asia Wilson led the Aces with 26 points and 10 rebounds, serving Vegas a narrow 3-point win. Game number 3 is Thursday night. Yankee fans, listen up. Fenway Park is the home of more history making, with Aaron Judge adding his 56th and 57th home run of the season to his name. Judge is edging up to good company, only 4 runs away from Babe Ruth and Roger Maris in the American League home run record. And Steph Curry is going shopping. The 4-time NBA champion and 2-time MVP is slated to sign a $1 billion deal with Under Armour. This includes a lifetime endorsement deal with the brand, and hopefully some more cute shoes. Parker, Cameron, do you think I could rock some Steph Curry basketball shoes?
I definitely think you could, Sydney.
Oh, definitely. Man, $1 billion.
$1 billion.
I don't even think LeBron has a shoe deal that big.
I know, and it may not be $1 billion deal, but there is a Jurassic auction set to rake up some dough this fall.
That's right. Stick around for more on what's being auctioned off in Paris when we return.
I'm Sarah Sullivan at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Previous Massachusetts town official Suzanne Ianni pleaded guilty to storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Ianni reached the maximum penalty of 6 months in prison and will be on probation for 5 years. Before this, Ianni tried to get the case dismissed, but Judge Carl Nichols did not approve it. Parker, Cameron, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah. Imagine having a 150-year-old dinosaur skeleton in your living room.
This fossilized iguanodon skeleton named Zephyr will be auctioned off in Paris next month, and it's expected to go for about $500,000. The iguanodon is named for its teeth, which are like those of modern iguanas.
The one going up for auction is nearly 11 feet long and 4 feet tall. The bidding is scheduled for October 20th.
Well, switching gears a little bit again here, let's check on our weather one last time with meteorologist Catherine Liberta. Catherine?
Yeah, guys, we won't see any dinosaurs in Nebraska this weekend, but we're going to see some beautiful temperatures for that game. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff, and temperatures are going to sit just below 80 degrees. But then going into that fourth quarter, we haven't even reached 90 degrees yet. So those clouds are going to clear up, and it's going to be a beautiful game day weekend in Lincoln. But if you're staying here in Norman, you're still going to have a great day. Saturday, it's going to be 92 degrees. We're going to have partly cloudy skies, very light winds coming up from the south, and like I said, those temperatures are going to increase as we move into next week, but I'm not heading to that Nebraska game. Cameron, Parker, what about you?
I'm not going to be out there, but I know Parker's going to be.
I'll be there on the field, so I'm really excited for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be such a great experience. All right, that's all we have for you tonight on OU Nightly. Thanks for watching. I'm Cameron Joyner.
And I'm Parker Abels. Tune in live at 4:30 tomorrow. Good night.